like for both of these, when trying to create something kind of detailed and creating something maybe more abstract, I think a cartoon can really help you map out what it is that you want.
Hi everyone, I'm Gina from Fibers and Design, and in this video we're going to talk about cartooning. Let's get started.
A cartoon is a simple line drawing that's used as a map to help guide and show the artist where your design is going to go. So this can be something very simple, and it shouldn't be anything that you stress about. So even if you're not the best artist, and here I'm using air quotes, you can still use simple line drawings and forms to map out where you want to put your design on the loom. So again, this is something that you can do with practice, and you can make the drawing very simple or detailed it's the way you want it.
I personally like to make designs or use a cartoon if I'm using it for texture, because it helps me map it out ahead of time. I think it's really great to weave spontaneous if you can and if it's fun for you, but sometimes as I'm weaving, I might lose track of like a shape or what I want to do. So cartooning could be a really great way to create your designs, but also it could be a really great way to replicate your work. So if later you're creating several copies of the same design, maybe with different colors, then it could be a really great way or great tool, or it could be a very good tool for you to do that.
So this is a rubber plant, and what makes this plant so beautiful are the contrast with this pink and the green. So although, as you know, green and red are complementary colors, and pink is, still kind of in this family, and so they really contrast each other. But it's such a light, like at the camera you can't really even see it. I mean, here you can see the pink, but you can't even see the light coating of this pink color. Okay, so at first when when they're new, they have this like tint of pink. And the next thing that's really beautiful here is about this, the colors of the green. Okay, so it's almost like the leaves are painted on, right? We have like this very deep forest green, this other green, and then even it's lighter. Sometimes you have like 3 to 4 different shades of green in here, and it's just, I love it. So what I've done here, so it's like I said, it's kind of like brush strokes. And so I wanted to create this feeling of movement in the cartoon that I'm going to be creating. Now, in this project, I'm going to show what it is like with using a cartoon for this piece and without a cartoon. So as I said, what I really want to capture in one of the pieces here is the movement, and the other one is I want to make it more realistic. So let's take a look. Placing the cartoon behind the warp yarns would be a good placement for it because you can still see where the design goes. However, as I was working on my design, I felt that having it side by side was a bit more helpful for me. The scale that I used for this was quite small, and the end was about maybe 3-4 inches long. And so in just a few, maybe 1.5 inches, 2 inches wide. So it was quite a small design, but my cartoon actually was a bit smaller than the original design. But I think either way, having it by the piece or under the piece is a really great guide. So 2 things to keep in mind is 1, the placement of the cartoon while you're weaving, and also matching the scale of it. Now in this second piece here, I wanted to keep it quite abstract. I wanted to just focus on the movement of the colors and the transitions of the colors one to the other, and really focus on how they interact with each other. So I didn't use a cartoon. However, I definitely think I could have, but I think due to my approach of kind of making it loose and a little carefree, for me, the cartoon wasn't really important.
Here we have the two different results. I haven't had time to cut them down. So here what we have is the more abstract piece that I did here. So as I said, I really wanted to have this sense of brush strokes and movement and a bit looser. Now when I did this, in comparison to this one here, I really tried to have a more realistic leaf. And yeah, it's this is the first time with this shape and everything, and it does look a bit geometric, but I'm still quite happy with the details that I was able to get in and all the different little colors that I was able to put in here. So these little hints of green, getting that outline of that pinkish white. You know, there's lots of details for this one, and I really enjoyed trying this. Now, this was the one with the cartoon, and so that one I was able to follow and try to create the shapes that I saw in the piece. And for such a detailed piece like this, it was really, really helpful for me to keep in mind the shape that I wanted to do and keep for this. Although the cartoon ended up being, I think, a little bit smaller than this piece, it was still really nice to have the cartoon next to it in order to complete this and know like the sections that I wanted to create and the colors that I wanted to create in those sections. As for this one here, this one was more abstract, and this one I didn't have a cartoon. It was just in my mind what I wanted to create with those movements. And I think when you're creating something a little bit more abstract, I don't think per se you need the cartoon, but I definitely think a cartoon would be helpful. Here I kind of just gave myself the freedom to weave as I go, and I didn't really care too much about if it was, you know, some colors went over here or over there. Like, that wasn't really my point. The point was just really to kind of capture that movement. Okay. Now, as I was saying, like for both of these, when trying to create something kind of detailed and creating something maybe more abstract, I think a cartoon can really help you map out what it is that you want. And especially if you're working with something really big, or if you're working with something that has that you have to repeat, right? If you're creating something that you're going to sell later, or if you're creating something that you plan on replicating later, then I think a cartoon would really be beneficial to keep using again and again. Okay.
I hope that this tutorial helped you create your own cartoon for your next weaving project. If you have any questions, please leave them down below in the comments section. And if this video helped you, then please leave a thumbs up, and please subscribe for more videos on weaving. Please be sure to also check the Fibers and Design playlist. I have different categories that will help you with weaving if you're a weaving beginner, all the way to certain specialties such as weaving colors, shapes, images, and other weaving techniques. Thank you so much for watching, and you can check out even more content at fibersanddesign.com. Thank you again, and see you next time. Bye!